Hi, my name is Katie Kleier, and I will be doing Colson Whitehead's The Underground Railroad, pages 83 through 131. So, Colson Whitehead, The Underground Railroad, by me, Katie Kleier. Colson Whitehead is not only a writer, but a graduate of Harvard. He has wrote many books in his life. His first novel he wrote, The Intuitionist, was a finalist for the PEN/Hemingway and a winner of the Quality Paperback Book Club's New Voices Award. His second book, John Henry Days, won him the Young Lions Fiction Award and the Anisfeld Wolf Book Award. His sixth book, Zone 1, was a New York Times bestseller. His eighth book, The Underground Railroad, won the Pulitzer Prize, the National Book Award, the Carnegie Medal for Fiction, and was #1 New York Times bestseller. All of his books have won awards, prizes, and some have even been bestsellers. Colson Whitehead has also personally received many awards himself. For example, the Whiting Writers Award. He has also taught at 7 universities and has been a writer in residence at 3 universities. He has taught at the Ivy League schools, Princeton and Columbia University. Ridgway has made it to Georgia and is determined to track down Cora. His goal is to capture Cora and destroy part of the Underground Railroad. Chapter 4, South Carolina, is constantly going back from the past to the present. This chapter starts off with an ad for a runaway slave. She ran away 9 months ago and is believed to be passing as a free person now. Caesar and Cora had quite the journey from Georgia. When they arrived in South Carolina, where they met a man named Sam. Sam seemed very nice because he gave them food and allowed them to bathe. Cora was given a pretty blue dress that she would keep for some time. Caesar and Cora are given a story that they have to memorize on how they got to South Carolina. Cora realized she must start studying and reading right away. Cora is now known as Bessie Carpenter and nannies for a family. She nannies for the Anderson family. Cora is living in the dormitories in the Griffin building, where Mr. Anderson works. When Cora had first arrived at the dormitories, she had to be interviewed to figure out where she'd be placed for work, and had a physical examination by Dr. Campbell. He was able to figure out how many times she'd been whipped and that she had been raped. On Saturdays, Bessie enjoys sleeping in before she has to head to class. Bessie has come to like a lady named Miss Lucy. Miss Lucy tells her that she's made great progress with her speech. Miss Handler is Cora's teacher. She explains that this class would be illegal in North Carolina. Cora often thinks of her mother, Mabel, and how she'd be proud that she's learning to read and write. Cora misses her mother and still wants to figure out what happened to her. She asks Miss Lucy to see if she has any record of Mabel Randall. Lucy points out that Cora's last name is Carpenter. Cora quickly has to come up with a way to cover this up. So she says Carpenter was her father's surname, and her mother had the last name Randall. Lucy says she will check the statewide records to see what she can find. The book goes back into the past, talking about Cora's examination that I had noted earlier. Anyway, back to the present. Cora sees Caesar on the green. She points out that when she had a ride in South Carolina, he tried to kiss her and she refused. Now, she thinks one day maybe she'll kiss him. They're both attending a social, which is organized by the proctors in order to get boys and girls to get to know each other that live in the dormitories, and to try to get their mind off the slavery. Cora asks Caesar about Sam, and he says that there's a train leaving in a few days that could take them. Caesar wants to stay, but Cora does not. She changes her mind after enjoying a delicious meal and does not want to starve again on the train. Summary continued. The next morning, Lucy has informed Cora that she has been given a new position at the museum. Cora is introduced to Mr. Field at the museum. He informs her that she'll be acting in different scenes so visitors can see the variety of America. Cora makes new friends while working, named Isis and Betty. The museum opened the same day as the hospital. At the hospital, all the colored people are regularly getting monitored by doctors so they can better understand colored life. Cora is offered birth control from the new doctor that examines her that day. Cora refuses. Sam wants to meet both Cora and Caesar to inform them that they might want to leave South Carolina. He informs them that he had been informed by a doctor at the hospital that when the Black people think that they are receiving blood treatments, they are actually getting infected with syphilis for medical research. Cora says that they must inform everyone in the dorms, but Sam says that the people in the dorms will only trust the doctors and not the three of them. A couple days later, Cora goes to see Lucy about the new girls moving into number 40. Lucy says they were moved to another town and that we need room for all the new arrivals. Roberta interrupts our conversation saying, "Lucy, they're waiting for you." Lucy told her colleagues, the fugitive slave law says that we have to hand over runaway slaves and not impede their capture. And Lucy tells Bessie, "We'll take this up tomorrow." Bessie goes to the bunkhouse stairs and thinks that they could be looking for anyone. As I had mentioned early in the summary, Cora is very intrigued to find out what happened to her mother, Mabel. She asked Miss Lucy for help, and Lucy said she would check the records. This relates to the theme of family because although Cora and her mother have been separated, she still cares about her and wants to make sure she's okay. They always say family is where life begins and love never ends. Also, on our way home from the social, Cora sees a younger lady running on the green saying, "My babies! They're taking my babies!" Colored people have seen this scene numerous times. A mother distressed as her children are sold to a different master. Cora ends up being haunted by this woman's screams. This scenario also relates to the theme of family because although we realize later on the woman had been sterilized, she couldn't have any more children. A mother and a child's bond is closer than no other. The next theme, cruelty, is a given when talking about slavery. The first example I have of the theme cruelty is when colored people have been injected with syphilis without their consent or knowledge. I learned about this, about the Tuskegee experiment in my sex and AIDS class last semester. Although these are two different experiments, both are injecting Africans with syphilis. They were also making a woman sterile so she cannot pass the syphilis to her unborn child. Another example of cruelty is having Isis, Betty, and Cora working as actors in the museum. They had to rotate through 3 different scenes. The first one being scenes from Darkest Africa, the second, life on a slave ship, and third, typical day on a plantation. Cora told Mr. Field that typical day on the plantation is not accurate, and he says he doesn't have the resources to make it accurate. I feel he's lying and just wants to make sure the white folk think slaves are not being treated that bad. Cruelty is something no one deserves. Here are my sources, and thank you guys for watching.